Hey Moon Babe, it is I, Jilly Andromeda, and I wanted to just give you a little bit of some insight as to what is going on right now and why does everything suck. Yes, so many things suck right now, and it's not just you. It's not just you, it's everyone. Everyone is feeling it. Everyone kind of sucks right now. And everyone's just trying to make it through. So, reminder, be kind to people. Uh, Everyone's trying to be as resilient as they are able to be. Some people are able to shift and pivot easier than others. And so be mindful of that. Don't hold it against people. That's just kind of like their nature. And they'll eventually, I think, figure it out. But anyways, why does everything suck right now? Well, this week in particular, we have Saturn making its final square of 2021 to Uranus in Taurus. And Saturn has been in Aquarius, Uranus is in Taurus. These are both fixed signs. And when Saturn and Uranus square each other, as they have been pretty much this entire year, there is this need to take some extreme measures of change into our structures, into our status quo. And we've been seeing a lot of issues this past year, specifically with infrastructure issues with cities, old cities, whatever, and the resistance of governments to actually invest the money into these infrastructure changes. Like we just saw, the Build Back Better bill get shot down, mostly because of one Democrat in West Virginia. And it's exhausting. We all need, I would say, a roof over our head to survive, and we need to live in communities and environmental areas that support us living full lives. So the first time Saturn and Uranus made a square this year was on February 17th. And if you recall back then, that was when the storm hit Texas and froze all the pipes, and people were without power for months, I think, weeks, days, months. And that was a major issue. Kind of woke us up to just how unprepared we are for climate change in the U.S. And then on June 14th, this was the second Saturn square Uranus, and that was during the G7 summit in the UK, where all these world leaders came together from some of the richest countries in the world to discuss climate change issues and what they can do. And China was not in attendance, but they basically, sent a message to them saying, we're not going to do what you tell us to do. We're going to continue using coal. And we don't listen to you. We listen to the United Nations. Who are you? Why are you trying to tell us what to do? So, there was an attempt to make some sort of change, but we were faced with resistance from, one of the countries that is really responsible for, a lot of the developed countries are responsible for just the climate change, the rising carbon emissions. A lot of it does have to do with fossil fuels, of course, coal, using coal. And so that was actually the reason why that Democrat in West Virginia had shot down the Build Back Better bill, because he doesn't think, in his opinion, the coal thing. Anyways, yeah, a lot of us are facing some really huge burdens, responsibilities. Government, for the most part, is the one that really needs to make the change. We can all individually make changes, but what we really need is government change. Saturn rules and regulations. Saturn is the status quo, and the status quo is very resistant to the change right now. Saturn in Aquarius, change is being resisted. And there's restrictions in supply, restrictions within our networks. So we have that Saturn square Uranus happening. That's exact again, finally, on December 24th in the early hours, 2:17 a.m. Eastern. If you're in the Eastern time zone, that's when this will be occurring. But what we also have going on at the same exact time as this Saturn square Uranus is Venus conjunct Pluto. And so this is also important because Uranus is in the sign of Taurus. And so the way that we are changing is very much so influenced or associated with the current placement of Venus. And Venus is conjunct Pluto. So Venus conjunct Pluto is this need to transform how we relate, how we engage with others. There needs to be some sort of transformation here. There's a death occurring because Pluto is associated with death, and not just like physical death, but yes, also physical death, but like just transitions from one state to another, leaving the old behind. And that's really what essentially Pluto in Capricorn since 2008 has been kind of helping us achieve, is a letting go of these past structural dynamics, these old ways of doing things, these old traditions, and to have a rebirth of them. And right now we're experiencing that with economics, with our relationships, with our time, our priorities. And because Venus is retrograde, we're really looking back. We're really looking at the past patterns that we may have been just kind of blindly doing within our relationships, especially, or with our finances, and taking a closer look, trying to put an end to these toxic ways of relating to others and handling our resources, handling our money. You may become aware of just how you have compromised your values so much. You know, maybe for like a quick fix or something, or maybe to achieve some sort of position of status or power or authority, or maybe to institutions, authoritarian institutions. How have you compromised your own comfort, your own security, your own values, your own money to these institutions? Maybe even to longstanding family traditions, family expectations. I really feel like that's the biggest part of this. Pluto conjunct Venus, Saturn square Uranus, all this Saturn energy. It's all about like breaking away from the old way of doing things and really embracing a new vision, a new behavior, a new pattern. So you should be this Christmas doing something different, trying something new, trying a new tradition. What can you do differently? The old is gone, okay? We're never going to go back to the old way of doing things. That lifetime is gone. There's a new way we need to do things. Is a new way of us connecting with others that we need to embrace. And it needs to be inclusive and sustainable. So think about that, consider that, look for wherever 11 degrees of Taurus is in your chart, look for wherever 11 degrees of Aquarius is in your chart, and 25 degrees of Capricorn in your chart. Where are you specifically at being asked to pivot your values, have a death and rebirth of your values and relationships and time and priorities? And where may you be a little bit resistant to change right now? That's where Saturn is.